Hi everybody, it's Tamara from Eyes or Prairie Town Girl if you're here from Instagram. Starting this video out a little bit differently just to give you a quick explanation of what we're going to make today. This is not what I had in mind at all when I started filming this video. I didn't really have a clear idea in my head of what I was going to make. I just knew the purpose of what I was making, why I was making something. So what happened was this came out completely different, and that's why the video is a little, I don't want to say all over the place, but it's I'm a little confused in the video. So I'm going to try to edit out the parts where I'm just sort of like figuring things out. But in the end, this is what we end up with, and it is a, I'm calling it a pocketbook because inside we have all kinds of pockets. Lots and lots of pockets to put things. So stay with me, keep going, and you'll learn how to make one just like this. Thank you. Hi everybody, it's Tamara from Eyes or Prairie Town Girl if you're here from Instagram. And today I'm just going to play around, and I just wanted to make a little journal for myself, and I thought while I'm doing that I might as well turn the camera on. I recently went back to the gym after about I don't know, I'd say a 3-year hiatus. And I'm not super thrilled with what's happened over the course of those 3 years. So I started back a week ago, and I want to take it very seriously because next year I hit a milestone birthday. So I want to keep track of my progress and all that kind of stuff. So I found some things on the internet to help me out. So I got a little body measurement chart, and I'll do that maybe like, I don't know, once every few months or so. And then I also got a workout chart where I can keep track of like my reps and my weights and things like that, and hopefully I'll see a progression over time. So yeah, so I want to make a journal to hold all this stuff. I am just using some, I don't want to use a old book or something that's kind of bulky. I don't want to carry around something like that with me in the gym. So I just got some packaging materials, and this was a big box of rice, and so I've just cut a few pieces out from that. So I'm going to make the body with this, and then I'm going to cover it and put in my inserts and maybe some sections and tabs and that kind of thing, and then I guess I have to go work out. So I was going to do 2 layers, but I feel like this of cardboard, but I feel like this this cardboard is pretty sturdy and thick, and I'm not selling this journal. This doesn't have to be like a super quality journal. It's just for myself, so I'm going to save myself a bit of time and just use 1 layer. I was just watching a video over on Lindsay Zehner's channel, and she said she always uses 2 layers, but she sells her journals, and so, you know, it's up to you. You decide what you want to do. So the first thing I want to do is round all of my outside corners, and I just did a little test, and I think my my We Are Memory Keepers envelope board can handle the cardboard. I gotta really push down though, but it does the trick. Okay, so I decided to go with some fabric, and if you've been with me for a while, you might recognize this fabric from my Not So Mini journal. It's just cotton, and yeah, I just gave it a little iron, and I'm going to lay my pieces down on top of this. Now, what kind of glue? I was going, like normally I would probably pull out the Mod Podge, but I don't want my cardboard to warp, and it probably will with the Mod Podge. So I'm just going to use my glue stick and I'm going to stick it down. I'm just going to make sure that you can't see through this. It's okay. Yeah, and mostly this is just to hold it in place, because I think what I'll do is sew around the edges once it's all ready to go. So we'll just make sure we've got some extra around the edges, because I want to fold that over and make a nice clean edge. There's my brayer. There we go. And then my spine. And this I'm just going to do a tiny bit away just to give it enough room to fold. There we go. And then the last piece. I think I'm even going to get my ruler out to try to make sure it's fairly even. So I'm just going to cut the excess fabric off. Alright, so there we go. So let's fold that fabric in. And then we'll cover the inside as well. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give the corners, I'm going to give the corners a little snip to take out the bulk and make them a little bit easier to fold in. And then you might want to, you can see there's a little tiny overlap of the fabric there, so I'm just going to snip it so it's not hanging over the edge. A little dab of glue. I can see I need to maneuver my fabric a little bit because I've lost my my rounded corner. There we go. That's okay. Just sort of try to fold it in and get enough glue on there that it'll hold. I'll just show you what's happening up close. You see that? There. That's better. So now I've got some rounded corners. Okay, now before I cover the inside, I want to figure out my closure, which sometimes I forget to do. And let me think, what do I have here? Okay, I went through my ribbons and I've got this little snip of ribbon. I'm sure this came from the inside of a top or something like that. So I'm just going to sort of center that and glue it down. And again, this is just sort of to keep it temporarily in place, so you don't need to like pull out the glue, good glue for this just needs to keep it there. And I'll try to put it somewhere. Oh, I feel like that's too high up. There we go. Try to put it around the same spot on the other side. Okay, now what to put on the inside. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this on the inside. It goes with, it sort of pulls some of these orange flowers out, and it's on the inside. And I would normally probably do something a lot prettier, but I have so much scrapbooking paper, and I really need to use some of it up, so this is a good project to just use what I might not use on other projects. So I just need to figure out what size I want that paper to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5. 5 and 5 and 7 and 7/8. Okay, let's see if these are anywhere near close. I'm cutting out all the cutting footage because honestly I'm sure it's incredibly painful to watch. I know it's hard for me to I usually end up checking and triple checking and then cutting wrong and then having to recut, so that's not fun to watch. So my battery is about to die, so I'm just going to finish this insert, or sorry, this inside cover, and get it ready for gluing, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that was a blessing in disguise, because that gave me some time to sort of organize my thoughts and figure out exactly what I'm doing. So I think I have a better, you guys know I don't work off the fly very well, so I have a better idea. So anyways, all I've done is laid down a little piece of fabric here on the spine, because it will peek through even once I have my lining in there, and I don't want that to be just empty cardboard. So I cut out my pieces, I rounded my corners, just my outer corners, and now I'm just going to get some glue down and put these pieces in. So I'm just going to go and sew that edge down. Totally not necessary. It's really mostly just for looks at this point, but yeah, I'm going to do that and I'll be... Okay, so I ended up going all the way around the edges, and then also on the inside edge on the around the spine, on the front and the back, and then down both edges of the spine as well. I don't know why, I just couldn't stop. One trick I will tell you about is that I used a cream color thread for my top thread, and I used an orange thread in my bobbin, and then that way the thread matches on both sides. Okay, so now while I was getting ready, I thought I was going to make pages for all of these charts and glue them on, and I thought, ugh, I don't feel like doing that. That's a lot of work. So instead, what I'm doing is making pockets that will sit inside. So this is going to be a pocketbook. So the first thing I do is, I know this is around 5 inches or so across, so I cut my pages 10 inches across. So they just need to be folded in half. And hopefully they are square. Here's my folder here. And then I'm going to, now you could score it, but I'm just going to come up, I know I just need to come up about 4 inches, so right about there, and press that down. And that gives me like a nice little sort of folder pocket to put inside, but I want to make it so that it's easy to get into and out of. So this flap, I'm going to cut this along the fold line, cut it in half, and then I'm just going to cut just a tiny smidge, whoops, not that small, a tiny smidge off the center on each one. And then that way, when I'm trying to get into my pockets, they're easier. So I'm going to also round those corners. And I'll round these corners too. Okay, and then I will just either glue or sew down the outer edge of each pocket. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 pockets. The hard thing to remember is just don't fold your paper that way. You got to fold it the lengthwise way, which I made that mistake on my first one. Folded it and scored it the wrong way. That's okay. They will sit right inside. I have room for, I have room for lots more pockets actually. Should I add more pockets? Yep, I'm going to add 2 more pockets. Okay, so I have what are basically 5 signature covers. This is what I would normally use for my signature cover, but there's not going to be anything inside. It's just going to be the pockets. So just so you can see, and I like this because I'm using up some scrapbook paper. This is great. Yeah, so now all I have to do is get them all into the spine. So I'm just going to stitch them in there the way I normally would with just a basic sort of a figure 8 stitch. There's still lots of room. I could probably still add a couple more signature, but you have to remember that you want to stuff your pockets as well, so you don't want to overstuff the whole thing too much just with pockets. So I'm going to stitch those in, and then I'll be right back and I will show you the finished journal. Okay, I'm all done finally. So here's my little book. You open it up and we've got a pocket and a pocket and a pocket. Yeah, I don't know if this will actually be used for what I intended because it's a lot more than I need. So I might have to rethink the whole, you know, using it for my gym workouts and that kind of thing. It might just be used for something else. We'll see. So that's it. Thank you very much for joining me today. And no matter what, I hope this, you know, sparked some creativity for you and gave you some crafty ideas. And would love to see your version of what you come up with too. So thank you everybody for joining me today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.